Imagine the pain that Vidyapati was feeling, and imagine the pain that Vishwavasu was feeling. All three were great devotees of the Lord. Though they appeared in separate angles, but they were all feeling pain when Narada Muni said this. Then Narada Muni lightened up the atmosphere by saying, but I have good news. The Lord wants to appear, but now He will appear in a form which is so wonderful, it has never been seen anywhere in this universe. And in this form, He will teach the world that He is completely transcendental. And He will give so much mercy to the world that even the most fallen and even the most qualified, they are all on the same platform of receiving mercy from the Lord. So then, Indrajita Maharaj then became alert and happy. And he said, tell us then what we should do. So then at that point of time, Narada Muni says, now prepare yourself to receive the Lord. The Lord will descend very soon in a beautiful wooden form. But before that, He needs a temple. So now, find people who can build a beautiful temple. Then, prepare a wonderful sacrifice to receive the Lord. Prepare an abhishek, to do abhishek for the Lord when He comes. And then, you should go and you should call the most exalted personality of the three worlds to become your guest. And after saying that, Narada Muni leaves. Now Indrajita Maharaj in his heart is feeling ecstasy. He feels, now I was in difficulty, but the Lord has picked me up. He turns to Vishwavasu, that very sad chieftain whom he had imprisoned. Immediately he frees him and he embraces this Shabra chief. A king embracing a Shabra chief is very astonishing. But it shows that on devotional service platform, we are all the same before the Lord. It doesn't matter what gender we are. It doesn't matter what material qualifications we have. Krishna doesn't see that. Krishna only sees the heart and the essence of the devotional mentality of the devotee. That's why Jagannath and the Lord are known as Bhavagrahi Janardana. So now, Indrajita Maharaj falls at the feet of Vishwavasu, embraces him and says, Vishwavasu, my friend, I have wronged you. I have wronged you so much. Vishwavasu embraces the king and said, no king, actually I was very upset with you and Vidyapati unnecessarily. Then they looked at each other and say, now let us work together. Let us cooperate. Vishwavasu, you are a powerful builder. Bring your men and your village and build this temple. Vidyapati, get all the brahmanas and start a fire sacrifice and prepare the abhishek. And I will go and call Lord Brahmaji because he will be our guest of honor. Imagine calling Brahmaji for 3rd of July Rath Yatra. Brahmaji will be present the moment we chant, Today Krishna is so kind, you don't have to go to Brahmaloka to call him. You just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. And Brahmaji is here. He is here. We don't have the eyes to see him, but we must have the heart to receive him. So this is the beauty. Indrajita Maharaj decided, let me travel to Brahmaloka in his earthly form. As he's leaving, he tells his wife, my wife, prepare yourself now, get everything ready, I'm coming. And his wife in her heart tells him something very poetic. I don't have it here, but she says something to the effect that, my Lord, I have a feeling in my heart that this is the last time I will ever see you. Indrajita Maharaj dismisses it. He says, nonsense, I'm coming back with Brahmaji. And she smiles. And he goes now. And he goes to Brahmaloka. And there Brahmaji is a bit busy, because he's creator, secondary creator. So he's definitely busier than all of us combined. So he was busy with creation. So Indrajita Maharaj thought, okay, never mind, let me wait. There must have been a waiting room for those who want to see Brahmaji. So I think he must have sat down in the waiting room. So he waited for maybe an hour. Brahmaji comes out and says, my dear Indrajita Maharaj, I've heard so much of your glories. Tell me now, what is it? And then he says, yes, the Lord himself has descended into this material world. And he has commissioned and given us the order to call you the most exalted personality to personally perform the abhishek. Brahmaji says, actually it's very interesting, you've come all the way to tell me this news because I received this news already. Who told you this? Narada Muni. Narada Muni, Prabhupada says, is the eternal spaceman. So, before you can go and invite someone, Naradaji has already gone, and on the way, he just gave the news to Brahmaji. So Brahmaji says, I'm coming now. Just wait, let me pack up a few things, paraphernalia, and I will come. So he waits another hour. And then he comes down with Brahmaji. When he comes down to Brahmaji, he says, Brahma, you wait, now I'll get everything ready. And when he comes to the spot where the kingdom and the temple is to be, there is no kingdom. Or if there is a kingdom, it's not his kingdom. And there is just sand, a big mound of sand in the ocean area. He's confused. Maybe I took the wrong turn, maybe not. He walks further into the palace. All is quiet. And then he sees one Brahmana coming out who looks so much like Vidyapati. He says, Vidyapati, what happened? Brahmana says, Vidyapati? Are you alright, man? Vidyapati was my ancestor who died, I don't know how long ago. I can't even remember when he died. I just know I had an ancestor known as Vidyapati. Then he said, who is the king? He says, the king, don't you know that our king is the illustrious king known as Galadharma. And he is coming from that great king known as Indradyumna. Indradyumna Maharaj says, man, I'm Indradyumna. What are you saying? Vishwasama says, don't play a fool now. Galadharma is king. You should not speak like this. At that moment, Galadharma comes out. And he says, who is this impostor calling himself as my great illustrious ancestor Indradyumna? And Indradyumna Maharaj says, I am the king. And where is the fire sacrifice? Where is the temple? Jagannath is going to come. I asked that so many things be prepared. And at that point of time, one crow, known as a Bhushanti crow, it then chirped from a tree and said to both these personalities who were wondering who this impostor was, that he is right. I have lived longer than all of you, and I lived in the reign of Indradyumna. This personality is Indradyumna Maharaj. And Vidyapati was there, and Vishwavasu, the chieftain of the Sabara tribe, they were commissioned by him and prepared to receive the Lord. So Indradyumna Maharaj said, where are they and what has happened? And at that point, it dawned upon him that the day of Brahma is not the day of men. The day of Brahma would have been thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And all that time that he thought was just a few hours while waiting, an entire time had passed. Indradyumna Maharaj asked, where is Vidyapati? And they said, Vidyapati waited with the fire. He kept the fire going and going and going and going. You ask the Brahmanas who keep fire sacrifices going with the fire. You ask Dinavasa Prabhu, you ask those who are assisting Sudarshan Prabhuji, and you know it's not easy to keep a fire going. He kept the fire going for years, waiting, where is Indradyumna Maharaj, where is Indradyumna Maharaj? In the end, as the fire died, his life also went. And he died while trying to keep the fire going. Vishwavasu waited and waited, when is Indradyumna Maharaj coming, when is the Lord adventing? He went to the shores every day, he went all around looking, and then he went into a forest. And there was a forest fire, and he just immolated himself in the forest fire. Indradyumna Maharaj realized that he should not even ask where his wife is, because his wife would have been a memory of the past. Here is a devotee who sacrificed his wife, his property, his kingdom, his time, his youth, his opulence, everything, so that he could try to have the mercy of the Lord advent in this world. How do you think he would have felt? And at that point, he was crushed. And he thought, now, there is no use for me to live. Let me fast to death. And in that night, after 3 days of fasting, Lord Jagannath, the Lord, he comes in his form. In the dream. He comes in the dream. He comes in the form of a voice. And he says, my dear king, do not despair. Do not despair. Now you do one thing. I am ready to come. And I will come on the shores of this beautiful country known as Purushottam Kshetra. And when I come in that shore, I will come in the form of Daru Brahma, in the form of wood. You just need to get your men and bring me in. And then I will send the proper person to carve me. Don't despair. Don't despair. And at that point, Indradyumna Maharaj says a beautiful prayer. He says, my Lord, I am despairing on account of my misdeeds, that I am disqualified. I am not despairing on account that you have let me down. This is Tatte Nukampam Sushamikshava. This is the difference. We despair because we think Lord has let us down. But the devotees despair because they feel they are not qualified. There is a difference. The second will increase our devotional service. The first will lead to offenses. And so what does he do? He calls everyone to go down and wait. And news comes to him in a few days that the beautiful wood has come. But no one can move it. Elephants, nothing can move. And then he gets news. There is this great chief of the Shabara tribe. He says, is it Vishwavasu? No, his name is Veerabhadra. He goes down to the shores to see who is this Veerabhadra. And he sees Veerabhadra and he thinks, my God, this is a twin of Vishwavasu. And together they move this great, powerful wood. And they bring it in to the temple. And there he tries to bring some people to try and, chip the form of the Lord and carve the form. But all the implements and tools they break. And at that point, an old man, Ananta Maharana, he comes. And he says, I've been sent by the Lord. Indranam Maharaj was thinking, all the most powerful people could not touch the wood. This old man looks like he's going to fall down and die. What is he going to do? He says, my only condition is, put me inside, close the door, don't open it until I finish it. If you open it, my work is undone. And it will be, nothing can happen to it. The king says, I have waited so long. I spent 2 hours in Brahma and I came back. I spent a lifetime, I lost everything. What is a few days? So he waits first day, second day, knocking, third day no sound, fourth day no sound, fifth day no sound. Now the king is in despair. I waited so long. I must do something about it. And in that mood of breaking his promise, he opens the door. And there he sees the form of Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. That is the form we just saw now. And when he first sees them, instead of saying Hari Bol, he despairs again. Because he says, they have no legs, they have no hands, they have funny eyes. What is this form? And at that point of time when he thinks, this is because I broke my promise, and the Lord's form is not complete, woe to me. And for the second time in his life, he decides to fast to death. And at that point, to conclude this beautiful pastime, Narada ji comes. Narada ji comes, Brahma ji also comes. And they say, get up, Indradyumna. This is the form that the Lord wants to be worshipped in. The Lord has come for 2 reasons. He has come to have a very sweet pastime with you. The pastime of breaking the promise. A devotee breaks promise to Lord, Lord should get angry. But here, devotee breaks promise because of his intense desire to bring the Lord down. So the Lord, instead of becoming angry, becomes extra pleased. The Lord also cannot wait to become carved. He says, drop it now. I want to come because my devotee has called for me. This is the pastime of breaking the promise. And the second reason why Jagannath wants to come this way, Narada Muni explains, is that he wants to show the world that the deity form of the Lord is not wood. The deity form of the Lord is completely transcendental to the material world. So Jagannath has no hands. But without these hands, he's taking champambhog 8 times a day. Who can eat that way? There is no form of the Lord anywhere in all the 3 worlds and the spiritual world that can eat like this, except Jagannath. And he's doing it as a matter of routine every day. Every day. And second, he has no legs. But he wants to display the pastime that he will travel the entire universe giving darshan. No deity is more movable in this entire world and entire creation than the form of Jagannath. And up to the point when Jagannath was in Purushottam Kshetra, sitting in Jagannath Puri, this benediction of moving around the world remained largely unfulfilled. Because Rath Yatra was only in Puri. But he left it to the great Acharya of our times, Srila Prabhupada, to finally do what Indradyumna Maharaj was given that benediction years and years and years ago. And that benediction was given only to one personality in our times, Srila Prabhupada. And what did Prabhupada do? Prabhupada gave us Jagannath by giving Rath Yatra all over the world. And he is the Acharya who fulfilled that last desire of the Lord. And what was that desire? That I be seen and I go everywhere in the world, even though I have no legs. So the leg and hand of the Lord are not material. They are completely transcendent. And this is the glory of Indradyumna Maharaja's determination, Vidyapati's devotion, Vishwavasu's strength of faith in the Lord. And because all three of them put aside their differences and cooperated to put Jagannath in the center, Jagannath came. And if we put aside our differences to serve Jagannath, then our differences become assets. They don't become liabilities. Vishwavasu's strength built the temple and his descendants built the runs. Indradyumna Maharaj only asked for 3 benedictions from Brahma before Brahmaji left. Because he said, I give you benedictions. You have done what no one has done before. And he says, first, let Jagannath's temple never be closed in the normal times. That is why Jagannath, if you go to Jagannath temple in Puri, he's open for a very long time and he takes very little rest. The Lord is working overtime to give mercy in Puri because Indradyumna Maharaj desired it. His second desire was that let everyone of any caste and gender be able to serve Jagannath. And that is why till today when Jagannath in Puri goes to take rest because he is transcendently sick, it is the Daityas who will now serve him and serve the Lord and nurse him back to full health before Rath Yatra. Not the Brahmanas. The party changes. Second benediction fulfilled. And personally, I love the last benediction. The benediction Indradyumna Maharaj asked was that I should never have any descendants. Never. Why? Because these descendants of mine must never be direct. Galadharma in history is not a direct descendant of Indradyumna. But he never had a child. Why? Because he said, no one from my dynasty should lay claim that this temple belongs to this dynasty. And for that, I'm willing to end my dynasty with me. Because of what value am I before the value of the Lord? Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra Maiki. Please take this beautiful pastime back. It is so nectarian and it teaches us so much practically how we should learn to follow the footsteps of these great devotees. And how fortunate we are to have lived in the day and age when Srila Prabhupada is giving his mercy to us. Because his mercy is ours to receive. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, sorry to have taken 5 minutes more. But what is the schedule now, Prabhu? We are doing Shayanati, so should we now stand and start singing the Kirtan? Okay.